Well, last week we had two of the top teams in the Valley Square off in girls basketball, Lone Peak and Timpview. And as I predicted, Lone Peak won the game. But that's a different story, Jared. Tell me just about the two teams and, playing each other and...
First of all, don't wrench your arm patting yourself on the back too. Don't hurt yourself. I think you might.
I'm coming, Jared. I'm coming for you.
I know. Well, I got to see this game, and let me be honest, Lone Peak was very, very impressive. Timpview hung with them for a little while because they were able to hit some outside shots, but Timpview really struggled in the middle. I really think the Knights are, 17 points better than, 15, 17 points better than Timpview is right now. Lone Peak is playing very good basketball. Their pressure is tough to beat because they've got size and athleticism. Amanda Farish is very athletic. Ryan Littlefield is pretty athletic as well. Two taller players.
Too much size for Timpview.
Yeah, it was far too much size. Very, very difficult on the boards for Timpview. Lone Peak just is athletic in the right positions and has a team that has a very solid team-first mentality, move the ball around, a lot of people score. I like what I saw from Lone Peak. They're going to be tough to beat in that region.
Well, I didn't see the game. I know you were there, but I don't think Timpview's played up to its potential yet. I'm not sure that Lone Peak is that much better than the T-Birds. Look at last year how Timpview struggled early. They went down to the Nike tournament, and I think they went 1-3. And then they sort of had a team meeting, they regrouped, and they were a different team. I think you'll see the same thing happen. This team is going to get better as the year goes on. So I don't think that just because they beat them this badly in the preseason that you can say, well, Lone Peak's way better than Timpview. I think later on in the year, if they played, it'd be much closer.
Well, I agree because tournaments are very. Turnovers have been a big problem for Timpview, and hopefully, well, at least if you're a Timpview fan, that's going to go down as the season progresses. But Lone Peak is very, very good.
Yeah,
I just don't know if the depth for Timpview is going to be able to catch up even by the end of the year. I think even if they played in March, I think you'd see Lone Peak winning by at least probably still by double digits. Well, we talked Lone Peak and Timpview, but we can't ignore the American Fork Cavemen girls basketball team. They did very well out at the Flaming Gorge tournament, another fun tournament to go out to Flaming Gorge and play some teams from Wyoming. They've been very impressive. Neil, are they on the verge of being able to knock Lone Peak off that top spot?
Well, they're on the verge of being a very good team, but I don't think they're going to take over the top spot. No one's going to take over the top spot from Lone Peak. They're too good. They've got too much depth. They're big. They've got pretty good guard play. They just have everything you need. So I think American Fork is a solid second, but I don't think they're ready to take over.
I haven't seen the Cavemen play yet, but everything I've heard about them has been exactly what I hoped to hear. Sydney Mason, Nikki Ibarra, Casey Mansfield, and Haley Homestead are all improving, which is scary because they were pretty darn good as freshmen and sophomores. And then you've got Amy Cromanhook, a sophomore now, who just continues to get better as well. This is a team that can beat you in a lot of ways. Now, they've got to be able to get rebounds. That's my one concern against Lone Peak. But I think they're much closer than a lot of people realize. I don't think maybe they've played the schedule that Lone Peak has. But if they're able to catch Lone Peak on a night when they're not shooting the ball as well...
Are you picking an upset? Are you calling it now?
I'm not calling it now. It's too early to call it now, Neil. Come on. They don't play for another month.
Okay, well, that's all right. You could go ahead and say I'm calling it.
I just think it's going to be I think it'll be a better game than a lot of people expect because I like what I'm hearing about American Fork. I think American Fork is a team that has all of the pieces to beat Lone Peak.
Well, now it's time for my favorite segment of the show. This is our predictions where I dominate Jared and distance myself from him like I did last week.
1 week doesn't make you dominating, okay?
Yes, it does. I was dominating.
Yeah. Lucky. You were just lucky.
I don't that's what you said last year about football and basketball. But I'll prove it again, Jared. Let's start with Brighton at Spanish Fork boys. I like Spanish. You'll probably follow me since I'm hot on this one. Who do you like?
Well, Brighton's actually a better team than I think most people realize, but it's tough to go into Spanish Fork and win. I'm going to take the Dons at home. I just don't think Brighton's going to be able to go in and be successful.
Spanish, there's something about that gym that makes it tough. It's a little older, and
I like it. I like going down there.
I do too. It's closer to the court, and it is a tough. I'm not a big guy on home court advantage usually, but I really think there's a home court advantage there. I like Spanish as well.
Okay, well, let's stay on Tuesday and do our only girls game this week because a lot of teams are going to Nike. Right. So our only girls game is Orem at Timpanogos on Tuesday. Who do you have in this crosstown game?
I'm going to take Timpanogos. I've told you in the past I like their style. I like the way they get up and down the floor. I just like Timpanogos in this one.
Well, Liz Darger does a great job over there. But I don't know if Orem's kind of come on strong after struggling a little bit earlier.
Well, yeah.
They've won a couple of games. I like some of the athleticism that Orem has. Brianne Larson does a great job running that show. I'm going to take Orem in this one. I think Orem beats Timpanogos.
Okay, I'm glad you disagree on that one. Let's on Wednesday we got Lehigh at Springville boys. This is an intriguing matchup to me. I'm going to take Springville. I've been impressed even in their losses. I think they win at home.
Well, Lehigh just seems to still be one game Lehigh plays really, really well. One game they kind of lay a bit of an egg. They didn't play well against West, but they beat Provo. So I don't know which Lehigh team's going to show up, and it might depend on which Lehigh team shows up. I'm going to take Springville just because I don't think Lehigh's consistent enough.
Okay.
So our next game on Thursday, we go to Thursday, and Spanish Fork is playing at Provo. Who you taking?
You know, I don't know.
Well, that's a good pick, Neil. That's a great pick.
That's a safe pick.
Yeah, there you go.
I could be like you. If Provo plays really well and cuts down the turnovers, I think they have a good chance.
Well, that's a great call, but does that mean you're taking Provo?
No.
Make a decision. Make a choice.
Davies out really scares me in this one, but I really think Provo at home probably has a little bit of an edge. So in a wishy-washy pick, I'm going to take Provo.
Well,
at least I admit it.
At least you admit your wishy-washy.
I'm not sure on this one.
Well, if you actually get it right, I'm going to be talking about how wishy-washy you were. I'm going to go with Spanish Fork's guard play in this one. I think that Zach Clayton, Matt Gardner, and Dallin Naulu kind of control this game for Spanish Fork. I think the Dons win. Okay,
I can't disagree with you on that one, but this is one that I think I'm pretty sure about. Mountain View at Alta. Mountain View, we talked about, was a surprise team of the season so far, and Alta playing at home. Pretty good team. What do you think?
Well, I look at this game, and I'd love to pick Mountain View. I really would, but I can't do it. Alta beat Spanish Fork up there. I think Spanish Fork's a slightly better team than Mountain View is, even with Mountain View's record. I got to go with Alta. I think the Hawks beat Mountain View in this one.
Well, I have to agree with you on that one. I think Alta at home, the bubble burst a little for Mountain View this week.
I think it'll be competitive, though. Yeah. I like it as a closer game than you might think. Maybe Alta pulls away late, but I like it as a close game. I'm even
going to take it another step. I like Alta by 11 points. How about that?
Okay, there you go. Okay. Nice job. I think it'll be, it might be double digits by the end.
That makes up for my wishy-washy Provo pick.
Well, at least a little bit. Yeah. All right, our final game, we got to talk about the bowl game, Las Vegas Bowl, BYU, UCLA. Give me a prediction and a score.
Well, I hate to pick BYU in bowl games because they usually lay an egg, but I think I have to pick BYU this time. UCLA, I don't like the direction of the program. They got all kinds of problems there. I just think BYU is too good. They really have something to prove, and I think they have something to play for. I mean, this could really finish off what I thought was a special season for BYU and set themselves up for next year. So I think that'll go a long way. I like BYU 38-24.
Okay, well, I'm actually going to go with an even bigger win because I don't think UCLA has anything to play for. I think they're going to come in like Oregon did last year and, like Georgia Tech did a couple years ago against Utah and just basically leave their game at home. I don't think, their head coach has been fired. What's the benefit? They already beat BYU once.
Yeah,
I think BYU is going to dominate this game and win. I'm going to go 42-10. I just don't think it's going to be a very good contest at all. I think BYU wins handily.
I can't remember the last time BYU crushed an opponent that badly, Jared.
Well,
42-10.
Oregon, they beat 38-8. It was similar. So,
close, but that's
they've only won a couple of blowouts in bowl games.
That's pretty rare. But
it's rare they play against teams that don't care about playing. Oregon didn't last year. Yeah. UCLA doesn't this year. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that's all we've got time for again this week. We'll probably take next week off for the winter holidays, but we'll be back here again to talk more about Utah Valley basketball and wrestling when we get back next year.